Today, 470 kids around the world were born with club foot. Sadly, more than 350 of those will not find treatment. They'll be sent home with their parents, and their parents will be left to wonder what will happen to their child. If you joined us last year, you heard Musa share his own personal story of having a son born with club foot in Niger and wondering if his child would grow up to be a lame man for life or a beggar. Today, Hope Walks is working in 16 countries around the world with 150 partners to help make clubfoot care and treatment available so these families can have hope and these children can find freedom from a treatable disability. Every day in our clubfoot clinics, we see over 230 visits. That's almost at one every 6 minutes of every day. Over the last couple months, we've seen between 550 and 600 new kids show up looking for care and treatment for their clubfoot and this simple treatable disability. With straightforward cast and braces, these kids can walk free, learn to walk, run, play, go to school like every other kid. I'm so glad you've joined us tonight. Tonight, I just want to share a little bit more about who we are as Hope Walks, the work we're doing, and the impact you can make in the lives of these kids and their families around the world. For those of you who signed up soon enough, I hope you got your pair of leathers and you've been able to paint them. For those, if you didn't do it today yet, you can still do it. And if you haven't ordered leathers, let me know and we can get you some. That you can paint your very own clubfoot brace, and you'll get a picture of a brace similar to what's behind me sent to you in your email. It's a great way for you to offer hope and encouragement to the families and kids that we get to serve every day. So tonight, I want to introduce some of my friends to you. We have some Texas clubfoot superheroes that are going to join us and share their own story. And then Lois Chapire from Zambia is going to join us and tell us more about the clubfoot program in Zambia. But before we get to that, I want to start with a quick little video to give you an overview of who Hope Walks is, where we work, and what we do, and how this simple treatment truly transforms lives.
Imagine how you would feel if your child was born with something different, like a crooked foot. Imagine if you couldn't afford to do anything about it. How would you feel? Clubfoot is a common birth deformity where feet are twisted inward and downward. It can happen in one or both feet, and kids are born with it every 3 minutes in every part of the world. If left untreated, the foot becomes stiffer and stiffer as the child gets older, making walking difficult and painful. Later in life, straightening the feet becomes more expensive, invasive, and difficult. So these kids will grow up disabled, stigmatized, and often end up begging on the streets. Clubfoot needlessly cripples thousands of children every year, even though there is a cost-effective and relatively simple treatment available. Hope Walks frees children and families from the physical, emotional, and economic burden of clubfoot. Through local health partners, Hope Walks supports clinics that offer the same simple treatment used in our modern healthcare to families in countries that normally couldn't afford care. The minimally invasive process, known as the Ponseti method, uses simple casting to correct clubfoot. With this method of treating clubfoot in babies, it eliminates the need for more complex surgery later in life, and many of these kids will grow up without even remembering they were born with clubfoot. Hope Walks goes beyond the physical treatment and offers counseling and support to these families that have been stigmatized. We are driven by dignity and compassion for vulnerable children and their families and offer education, letting them know that clubfoot is not because of something that they did wrong. In fact, it's very common. God loves them, and we're here to support them throughout the journey. We let them know why we do this. It's because we believe in showing them the love of Christ. He loves them and their children, and He's the God of healing and restoration. Since we've started, Hope Walks has had over 1 million clinic visits, each an opportunity to share God's love. We're committed to ending clubfoot as a lifelong disability, and all this is made possible because of people like you, giving, praying, and supporting Hope Walks. Join us as we bring freedom from clubfoot.
Hello. I have had a chance to see that video a few times, and seeing it again, I'm already tearing up just thinking about the different situation we would have been in. This is Anna Weekly, and my name is Natalie Weekly, and we are in, where are we?
Houston, and we are in our home.
We're in Houston. We are in our home, and we are so grateful that you have joined us this evening. I wanted to share a little bit about our story and about how we got involved with Hope Walks, and to encourage you and give you some hope that, as you saw in the video, God is a God of healing and of restoration, and He is still doing that today. So I'm already crying, Anna. What are we going to do? Okay. Anna, how old are you?
5.5.
She is 5.5. So in October of 2016, Anna was born, and I and we family did not know that Anna was going to be born with a clubfoot. And when she arrived, they immediately whisked her away to the little alcove nursery section, and I hear a nurse say clubfoot, and I am yelling to the nurse, "No, that is incorrect. She is perfect," across the room. And I was wrong, and she was right. And Anna did, in fact, have a clubfoot. And I didn't even know, as naive and first worldish as this sounds, I did not even know that that was something that happened here and with such regularity. I truly had no idea that it was as common as it is. And we immediately we waited to confirm, then we immediately began treatment, and we used the Ponseti method, the exact same method that Hope Walks uses in countries around the world, is the best method, and that is the method that we used. And the treatment consists of 3 stages. So the first stage is a series of casts that is moving the foot back into more of a correct position. And while we were doing the cast phase, Anna, as you may or may not have noticed just momentarily here, is very fidgety. And she kept kicking off the casts, and we had to go. I should have counted. How many casts do you think we had to go to? I know you don't remember. Just give me a number. 4. Oh, I wish we had only done 4.
Wait, no.
No, but say like 20.
No.
No. Maybe 15.
What?
I don't know.
No.
More.
I know.
Oh, how many?
When I was 1 age, I had to do 2 a year. 2 a year.
Oh, you did the boots and bar. Yep, we'll talk about that part next, okay? So we had to do the casting. And then, as is common in the Ponseti method, there is a tenotomy, which is a slight nicking of the tendon in the back of the heel, and then recasting, and that allows the foot, the tendon to grow, and then the foot to be casted in the correct spot. In Hope Walks clinics and in many clinics, the treatment does not always require anesthesia. And in our case, the doctor we were using and where we were was going to require anesthesia. And there is nothing wrong with that inherently. We were praying that we could avoid that particular step. And in the course of praying over that and praying over Anna, we were reading our Bible and came across this verse. And Anna, would you share that verse with them?
Mm-hmm.
Say it real loud so they can hear you.
Jeremiah 51:15. Who made the earth by his power. He founded the world by his wisdom, and he stretched out the heaven by his understanding. La, 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 la.
He stretched out heavens by his understanding. Stretched out. What a strange word choice to use there, Anna. Hold on, please. Stretched out, not flung up or crafted or created or drew or anything, but stretched out. Like, hey, we need a stretched out tendon. This is the verse we are praying. And we prayed that for Anna. And she, we were on our way to the doctor for right before we were going to do the surgery, because of course I'm not going to not do the surgery. It needs to be done. And we were on our way, and we were at the doctor's office. This is our final appointment before the surgery. And our doctor, who's been amazing thus far, is manipulating her foot and doesn't want to push the foot too far, because if you go too far, then you end up with something called a rocker ball deformity, where the foot literally looks like a rocking chair. So we don't want that, obviously. So we are, she's manipulating Anna's foot and says, well, I've done as much as I can do, and we're still going to need to do the surgery. And so we'll do that on Thursday. And she looks up at me to tell me this. And I say, okay. And then there's no other way to describe this other than her countenance changed. She looked back down at Anna, and she moved her foot again, and then had it exactly where it belonged. And she said, well, I have her foot in neutral, so we're just going to cast it that way and see what happens. And we did not happen to have that part of the process. And that was totally God's healing in that moment. Not only the method of Ponseti that helped her, but then the healing, the healing of God as well. And because of that story, because of that healing, we knew that we needed to be helping others and have access to that same treatment as well. So after we did the surgery, she wore boots and bar for, gosh, I've already forgotten. Isn't that wonderful that I've already forgotten that?
For my club foot.
Yes, which is healed, right?
Yep.
And for like 3 months, that's right. For 3 months, she wears the boots and bar full time. And then in the at night when she sleeps, up until around the time that she's 5, which is one of the things that's so wonderful about Hope Walks, because Hope Walks is more than just helping with that initial treatment phase. It is a time commitment, and Hope Walks provides the counselors and the family support to be with those families so that after the correction happens, they can help make sure that that correction is maintained. So after we, hold on just a second, after we were through our process, we went and I Googled and found Hope Walks. And it was at the very beginning stages of Hope Walks. And I talked with Andrew and I talked with Scott, and then knowing nothing about them and also knowing nothing about this organization, and again, nothing about Clubfoot that much other than our own experience, they very kindly let me join them on a trip to Honduras, and we toured several of the clinics around the country. And it was such a gift to see what was happening and the love that was being poured out to the children and their families, and the support that Hope Walks was providing, and the incredible staff that we have in country. And we have been involved with Hope Walks ever since. So I guess it's been about 5 years. And as hard, I mentioned she was squiggly and kept kicking out of her cast. Do you see this? Very squiggly. And that was incredibly challenging for me. Scott and I have talked about this actually, that when I go back to look at photos of Anna, many of the photos that I have of her from before her foot was corrected, I have like skillfully either have a blanket over her legs, or I have, there are very few where I'm actually showing her feet. And I think that's so interesting that our immediate response is, I'm going to protect my kid because of some of the things that we've heard, that I don't want her to be made fun of. I don't want her to be perceived as less than, and for something that is treatable. And that is totally not an issue right now. But we are so privileged to have that right down the street. We live in Houston, Texas. We have a medical center that's unbelievable. And many of the many of the clubfoot kids that are born around the world do not have that same access. I can't even imagine. We had to drive about 20 minutes to go get our cast. There are mothers around the world who are traipsing entire families of children across their countries to be able to reach clinics. And we want them to be able to not have to go so far and to have it be easier for them. And that is why we're asking for your help today. I mentioned our clubfoot journey is relatively easy compared to what other families have to deal with. We want to share with you the story of one family in Kenya with 8 kids, and 3 of those kids were born with clubfoot. That mom, she's a strong woman, I'll tell you. And so in this video, you'll see a small glimpse of what they deal with. They live in a remote mountain village, and getting to the clinic is anything but easy.
Yes.
Clubfoot has no known cause, but it has some hereditary traits. So it could happen that if a family person had clubfoot, you could at some point see a child born in the family with clubfoot.
But then it's not in all cases where you'll find clubfoot being hereditary. Most of the cases we see, there is no known cause to what caused the clubfoot.
Majina yangu ni John Mwangi. Kwa jumla niko na watoto 8 na waliokuwa na shida ya foot club ni 3. Wakati napata watoto wako na shida ya aina hiyo, huwa nahuzunika sana kwa moyo, kwa sababu nakumbuka kuhusu usafiri wa kutoka hapa kwenda hospitali. Kuna mtu ako na shida ya foot club ambaye ni ndugu ya baba ya mke wangu. Yeye maisha yake huwa ni ngumu kwa sababu katika usafiri huwa nasafiri kwa shida sana.
Coming from this village, because of the many hills and the many valleys, it would be very difficult for someone with untreated clubfoot to be able to live here and even walk through the tough terrain. The oldest child who was born with clubfoot went for treatment in another clinic, but with very limited success. The other 2 who were born with clubfoot were able to access the HopeWorks clinics in Kenya, and they were able to undergo successful treatment. The youngest child born with clubfoot, Samuel, his feet are straight, and he's now on the bracing stage.
So the most challenging part of clubfoot treatment is actually the bracing phase. So the parents have a lot more responsibility towards ensuring that there is no relapse.
Pastor Robert is one of our parent advisors. He would call the family to make sure that they were doing well at home, and even call them to remind them of their next treatment date.
Even though they come from difficult places and areas and difficult lifestyle, they need also to have their children treated. We have prayer together and encourage them that their children are going to be okay.
The reason why HopeWorks does the work it does is because we want to give hopes to the children born with clubfoot and their families and the communities, because at the end of the day, this is a disability that can be treated. The children don't need to end up disabled, and we also want to share the love of God to everyone.
Asante sana, Mungu awabarikie kwa kunisaidia. Amsaidia mtoto wangu sana.
Kwanza mimi ningewashukuru sana Foot Club na wale wote ambao wamejumuika katika hiyo mambo ya kusaidia hiyo matibabu. Wote ningewashukuru kwa ujumla, kwa sababu hiyo ni kazi nzuri sana wametufanyia, kwa sababu hatungekuwa na uwezo kama huo sisi wenyewe, ila tu wao wametusaidia.
Thank you, Natalie and Anna, and it's always great to see you guys. And as you saw in that video, all of our programs are run and operated by national staff. And Victoria in that video, making sure that these kids and these families from, as you saw, so very challenging places are able to get to care on a weekly basis to get the care they need so those feet can be straight, that they can walk and run and play. And as you heard in that video as well about our parent advisors, each one of our clinics has a parent advisor, a local believer who welcomes these families in, who encourages them, make sure they follow up with their appointments and their visits, and make sure that they get the care they need, and that they can also then deal with the challenges back home. So many of these families come from poor families or families where they're dealing with such significant emotional trauma and the shame and stigma of having a child born with a disability. These parent advisors play such a key part in our programs around the world. But in order to operate and serve in 28 clinics in Kenya or in the 8 in Zambia, we have amazing people like Lois Shapiro. Lois is joining us tonight from Zambia, and she is a woman of many talents, a nursing degree, a theology degree, a business degree. And with this process, we learned she's also produced and released 3 albums. So we're going to turn it over to Lois, and she's going to share some songs with us, as well as stories of the program there in Zambia and the challenges that they face. And as you think about Zambia, as I was preparing for this, Zambia is like from Buffalo all the way down to Georgia, and from New England out to Louisville. It's a big place. And so Lois crisscrosses that country with her team, making sure these kids get the care they need, sharing the love of Jesus. And so Lois, please share with us tonight.
Good evening. I'm going to start with a song. It's entitled Nyarara. Nyarara means hush, do not cry. As I journey to the kingdom of my beloved Savior, I face so many trials, but He is always near. This world is full of trouble, but I must still go on and fix my eyes on Jesus, the author of my faith. Anoti nyarara usacheme, bino izubara ishe. Anoti nyarara usacheme, uya uzorore mandiri. Anoti nyarara usacheme, bino izubara ishe. Anoti nyarara usacheme, uya uzorore mandiri. In the day when He appears to judge the sons of men, He'll call the names of the faithful ones who were written in the book of life. And after all our labor, we'll enter in His rest, and we'll behold His glorious face as we hear our Lord say, come. Anoti nyarara usacheme, bino izubara ishe. Anoti nyarara usacheme, uya uzorore mandiri. He's saying, hush, do not cry. This is the day of the Lord. He's saying, hush, do not cry. Come and enter into my rest. So friend, don't be discouraged to walk the Christian road, for Christ has gone ahead of us to prepare a place of rest. And there'll be no more tears, no pain and no crying. The old things will have gone away, and behold, the new arrive. Anoti nyarara usacheme, rino izubara ishe. saying, hush, do not cry. This is the day of the Lord. He's saying, hush, do not cry. Come and enter into my rest. Not in yarara usacheme. Reno izubara ishe. Anoti yarara usacheme. Oya uzorore mandiri. Esther chapter 4, verse 14b. Who knows but that you have come to royal position for such a time as this. These were words that were spoken to Esther by her uncle Mordecai when she gave an excuse as to why she wouldn't be able to approach the king to ask for mercy for the Jews who were facing imminent trouble. And Mordecai said to her that, don't think that because you're in the palace that this trouble will not reach you, but consider maybe you came to royal position for a time like this. I came to the Clubfoot program from an organization called Nessus Christian Fellowship, where I'd served for 20 years. And just at the end of that time period, I felt like it was time to move on. And I didn't know what was ahead of me. But after hearing someone preach about the baby Moses and how he was placed in the crib in the Nile River, and Pharaoh's daughter was there on the other hand to rescue him and give him a life, I felt like I was that baby that was on that water, and that somehow God would provide a Pharaoh's daughter on the other end that would take me on. And for sure, within a month of having left my previous job, I was engaged in the Clubfoot program and began my journey as part of the Clubfoot program. And for me, this was God's doing. This was God opening up a door for me. And the first few months were very difficult in the sense that there was a lot to do, a lot of learning. And before those months were over, I found myself alone in the program and with so much work because a lot my colleagues had moved on to other jobs. And I was so discouraged. At some point, I felt like quitting. But why did I stay? I considered this, that, the Lord knew, who knows the perfect timing, arranged it in such a way that I would be there at this particular time when the program needed someone. And so I believe that the Lord himself brought me to this program. And serving in Hope Walks in the Clubfoot program has got its joys. It's got its challenges. And among its greatest joys is being able to see the miracle of a child that comes with crooked feet go off with straightened feet, a mother that comes with tears of sorrow and hopelessness, go off with tears of joy and jubilation. And being able to see this transformation in a family from a situation of no hope to a situation of hope is what keeps me going. It's what gives me joy as I serve in the program. And the challenges, well, they're also there. And part of the challenges stem from the fact that Zambia is a huge country, almost 10 times the size of Germany, so they say. And from the narrowest part of the Zambian butterfly, it takes us a day to cross from one end to the other. And it takes us maybe 2-3 days to go across the wings. And our families have to travel that distances. And as staff, that is the kind of distance that we travel as we go about our work in the program, ensuring that the program is going well. And we do not have a vehicle, so sometimes we use a bus or we hire a car. And we've had some unfortunate adventures of having breakdowns and seeing God come through to rescue us, sometimes the most unlikely people. One such incident was recently when we were actually rescued by a traditional leader, a chief of the area, who brought us a bucket full of water when our car had overheated, and we found ourselves with only about 2 bottles of water with us. And it was a miracle because they passed us, asked us if we had seen a village nearby, and we said no. They gave us the 2 bottles of water they had and went off. And an hour later, they came back and helped us until we were on our way. And that happened because our team prayed, because you prayed as our partners. And for that, we're thankful. And let me share a bit about the families that we interact with who come for Club Foot treatment. I want to share the story of Susan. Susan is a young mom, barely left her teens. And she lost her husband in December. And after missing a number of appointments, she decided it was time to take her child back for treatment, and she had no money. So she walked 3 days and 2 nights, carrying the baby tied on her back and just wearing ordinary flip-flops. When we saw her at that clinic, she was so weary. She was so tired. As she sat there watching her child being taken care of. And when we gave her transport money to go back and to come for her next visit, she was so overjoyed, and she was so grateful. And thankfully, she never has to walk that distance again because of people like you who are giving to make it possible for her treatment and for her transportation. The second mom that I want to share with you is Taonga. Taonga lives in the southern part of the country, and she starts off for the clinic at 04 a.m. In the morning, and she prepares herself. By 5 o'clock, she's out of her house, and she walks 20 minutes to the nearest place where she can get some form of transportation. And she's only able to reach the clinic at 11 in the morning. And after the treatment, she's not even able to get back home. She has to find somewhere to sleep along the way before she can get back home. But she's so dedicated, and she doesn't miss a single appointment for the treatment of her child, because she has this dream of seeing her child being able to walk. Her meager income cannot support the transport costs involved in coming to the clinic. And she's one of the beneficiaries of our transport support, and she's so grateful for the free treatment that she's receiving for her child and for the transport support that enables her to come to the clinic to have her child treated, all because of people like you who are giving towards our program, towards the treatment of these children, so that they can be given a chance to walk. And we're so grateful as a program as well for your giving. The third story I want to share is pertaining to one of our parent advisors, Elias. Elias lives in the northeastern part of the country, which is largely rural. And so mostly there is no public transport that connects him to the places where his patients live. So oftentimes he needed to do home visits using his bicycle. And we didn't know he was using his bicycle. We just noticed that the number of home visits had gone down. And so when we asked him about it, he told us that his bicycle had broken down that he was using to do the home visits. And so we were able to get him a new bicycle, a second-hand bicycle, but a good one. And that's what he has been using to do the home visits. And he's so proud of it that it is his ministry tool to reach and minister to families as he supports them in the course of clubfoot treatment. And all this is made possible because you are giving, because you are supporting this work of treating clubfoot, enabling us to be able to provide treatment, free treatment to these children and be able to give hope to an otherwise hopeless situation. And so we just want to say thank you so much. I'm going to end with another song. It's a relatively new song, and but I think I can be able to sing it. Jesus calls us to refresh the weary, help the weak and empower the helpless, give them a chance to live out the purposes of God in their lives. Jesus calls us to refresh the weary, help the weak and empower the helpless, give them a chance to live out the purposes of God in their lives. He has called us to preach the good news and to announce that salvation is Him, to say to the captives that they are free, and to the blind that they can see again. He has called us to free the oppressed and to announce that salvation is Him. Freely you have received, freely give. 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 Of His love, of His power, of His mercy and grace, freely you have received, freely give. 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 And this is my story. And I'm so thankful that of what the Lord has given me, of my strength, of my labors, of every area in which He prepared me, I'm able to give back in ensuring that these children that would otherwise have no hope, have hope. Children that would otherwise not be able to walk are able to walk. And I believe that the Lord brought me to this program for such a time as this, changing one life at a time. Thank you.
My name is Grace. My son's name is Jason. And Jason, being my first child, he means a lot to me. Between me and Jason, there is something special. He's my world. After my son was born, I was informed that he had a clubfoot, and I was scared, and I thought my boy will not be able to walk properly.
Especially in Africa and low and middle income countries, children with disabilities have poor access to education, they have poor job opportunities, they are often neglected and can also be abused.
Nothing like that had been detected that Jason was having an issue. I was like, what went wrong? I thought everything was okay.
Even though Grace and her husband both work in the medical field, their knowledge of clubfoot was extremely limited.
Having read it in books just a little bit, I never thought that it would happen to us, and I had little information.
Shortly after Jason was born, the doctor who saw Jason's clubfoot tried to do plaster of Paris casting. However, it wasn't the true Ponseti method, and so it was not successful.
We even didn't know where to turn to. And that's when the Hope Walks came in to help us.
The treatment of clubfoot, it can be seen as somewhat simple. After several casts, children are put into braces. The child has to wear braces until they are 5 years old.
Before I knew it, he would go out of the house and he would go even very fast.
Jason is great. He is running around, riding his bicycle. An untrained medical professional would have no idea that he ever had clubfoot.
And that makes me happy because the boy now is normal. He's living normally. He's able to do all the activities that all children are able to do.
The treatment for clubfoot disability is fairly simple. It's casting and braces with a minor procedure that doesn't even need an operating room, and it completely changes a child and family's future for generations to come.
I'm very happy to have known the Hope Walks because through them, they were able to correct the deformity that my child was suffering from. My son stands as a miracle. In fact, I normally pray for Jason that he may become an important person in the society, a person who will even give people hope.
That is so encouraging to hear Lois and then to see Jason. I love Jason's mom, and I think even Natalie, as we heard you, it's the mothers that can speak to this journey and the impact that this is making in the lives of their kids, who are their world, as Jason's mom says. So great to have you guys back and with us, and we're just so grateful that you've chosen to spend a few minutes with us this evening and to hear Natalie's story and look at Anna. And I know she's got a big dance recital this weekend, so she's going to put those feet to work. And
She is.
yes.
Are you excited?
I told them about the little.
You want to tell them what dances you're doing? Just tell them which ones you're doing. Are you going to do ballet?
Yes.
Are you going to do tap?
Yes.
And she did her rehearsal yesterday. Did you do a great job? I don't know what you want to tell them.
I want to tell them like the little thing.
Oh, about the feet being
No.
straight?
The jazz thing.
Oh, they won't be able to see it. She wants to show you one of her moves, but
No, not this thing.
okay, show me. Oh, that she can run so fast. That's what she's showing me. Okay, I'm not getting it right. Anyway, we are honey, people are watching. We have to keep going. Okay.
Nothing like live TV. I guess who was this Art Linkletter or whatever? No,
Right.
I didn't even go there.
I don't know.
But yes.
I have to
Dancers that look like the same.
Oh, the tap dancers that were all synchronized? Oh, yeah. That's awesome that you got to do that.
No, I'm actually
You're going to see it. One of the things that I was really overwhelmed by, both with what Lois said and then also seeing that not new video, but the video that we showed before, is just remembering. I mean, she's no longer having to wear boots in a bar. We are removed from the beginning shock and process, and to just be reminded what she's been healed from. It's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable that it is so easily done. It's not like we're doing reconstructive surgery. It's it's such a gift, and we want people to be a part of that.
Yeah, and to think, $40 a month, right? And that monthly giving transforms a child's life over the course of a year. And we so easily get involved in these long-term sponsorships of things, and yet this simple intervention at this early point in a child's life, someone like Anna, all she remembers is the braces, and now she's running and playing and going to school and dancing like every other kid, and
Absolutely.
with hopes and dreams to do great things, right? And again, back to Jason's mom. It's the mothers and their joy when we get to go visit and see these clinics, just to hear their heart's passion for their kid to change the world, to be something big one day. And so monthly giving just means so much to us. And so, you think of what we pay $40 a month for, what do we pay $80 a month for, and the impact that can have year over year in the lives of these families, in their communities, in their countries. One day, those kids might be taking care of us somewhere someday. So it's really powerful. So yes.
Can you tell people that you want them to donate monthly? Tell them you want to be part of the Clubfoot crew. Say that.
They can be a part of the crew, right?
Be part of the Clubfoot crew.
Be part of the Clubfoot crew.
We've got our own little pirate, so that it fits in with some of our sponsors for tonight. So
that's right.
Well, we're so grateful that you've joined us, and just so grateful for Natalie and Anna for taking time out of their evening in Texas, and for Lois from joining us from Zambia. We have an amazing team around the world, and just so grateful you invited us into your house this evening. And tomorrow is World Clubfoot Day. So I don't know if it's on people's calendars, but tomorrow is the day that globally we celebrate Dr. Ponsetti's birthday, and just try and bring awareness and raise awareness that truly there are hundreds of kids that were born today that don't have access to care. And with a simple gift, your simple involvement on a monthly basis can truly transform a life. And so just grateful to have you with us. Grateful for all our partners. I hope you saw at the outset who've made this evening possible. And again, if you didn't get your brace and want to paint a brace for a kid with clubfoot, you can do that. You can write a little note. You'll get a picture of the brace that you painted, and help change a life. So thank you so much for joining us. Happy World Clubfoot Day weekend. And thank you, Anna and Natalie, and everyone for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you for having us.
Bye-bye.
Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, thy path throughout thy universe display. Thy path throughout thy universe display. And when I think that God is not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in, that on the cross my burden gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sins. He bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul,